All right. So we'll just
Oh,
set
I
up.
just need to hit this button.
So yeah. So it should say this meeting's being recorded.
Yep.
That way it gets everything we're talking about. I can hear you if I'm going to turn the volume up just a touch. And then I will edit this part out. All right, hold on. Suit's going on, and then we'll begin.
Take your time.
Well, pick up where we left off the other day. Sorry that didn't work.
Oh, that's all right. It happens.
All right, Paul. Dorky head. All right. Make sure the light's on. Let me turn this backlight on. Ooh, hot all day. Okay. Set up the camera.
There we go. Yeah. So, anyways, hello again.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello again.
Again, I will say the vision. I think I could see through the eyes of a potato better.
Very true.
I got like a little dot right here where they didn't sew it properly. That's the only thing I could see through.
Oh, so your eyes don't see all the way through either way.
Nope, because they hand painted it closed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's tough because you'd have good vision if your eyes were the normal, like, follow me eye.
Oh yeah. I think they used screen doors. What it feels like. Well, it's a start.
It is a start. All right, hold on. My dog is. Hey, give me a couple minutes, okay? All right. I know. No. Go sit down. Go sit down. I gotta do this. My dogs want pets.
Yeah, my cat has been bothering me ever since I tried to set this up.
Oh, you got a cat? What's the name?
Beans.
Bean. Great name for a cat.
Yes, because the little toe beans.
Aw, adorable. All right, I think I'm ready.
All right, then let's jump on into it with the first question. Yeah, again, being, what got you interested in the fandom in the first place?
Well, I mean, so I think what really got me into the fandom was honestly YouTube. I was something that I was aware of. Like, I'm now like I guess a little bit of an older furry. I'm in my early 30s, but I would say I first discovered the fandom when I was actually about 21. I ran into a couple of what I thought at the time were mascots, but they turned out to be furries in Pittsburgh, and I ran into them at actually a bar, and they were really cool. And we took some pictures with them and talked to them a bit. I had no idea what they were. They mentioned they were furries. I looked it up on the internet, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't think it was for me. But then as time went on, I kind of saw more and more of it on YouTube. I saw some mostly videos of, you saw the normal furries that are on YouTube, like the Majiras of the world back when they got started, some other guys that don't do YouTube anymore. I remember seeing them. But what really got me into it was the videos of like all the conventions and people hopping around, having fun. Like the convention highlight videos was really what did it for me. And it became this thing that I just wanted to experience and give a shot. So I ended up giving a convention a shot one day, and I had a really good time. And now a couple of art pieces and a fursuit later, and I'm just bouncing around having a good time.
Oh yeah, I get that fully. My story is a bit different, but kind of similar. It started with like YouTube videos and stuff like that. One thing led to another. Well, also something that kind of got me into it is when I was younger, I used to read the Lord Cat books, and I got into the role
Ah,
playing that way and making your own character, stuff like that. So I started when I was like real young on that, and as I got older, I went into the furry fandom about 2 years ago now.
oh, very cool. So it's funny how it does start, because like if I could trace back the origins, I guess you could say I like the idea of anthropomorphic animals since the early Disney years. So darn you, Disney, you did it again.
I think that happened to a lot of people with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, anyways, with the next question being if I can see. Okay, so we covered what got you into the fandom, but another part to that is what made you want a fursuit.
So same kind of deal. I think it was the idea of like getting around, like again, not that you need and you don't need a fursuit. I went to my first couple of cons without a fursuit. You don't need one to have a good time. I had a great time at those conventions. I would say it enhanced the experience to be able to dress up as your character. Like, you know, I'm sort of this unique multicolored wolf that, there's only one of me. There's only one Blizz. And it's nice to be able to put him on and, act him out, play my character, have fun, be this bouncy little goofball who hops around on the dance floor. And you kind of, you get away from not necessarily your human self, but like it's a it's almost like that inner child comes out when you just get to play this fun, goofy wolf who bounces around and just likes giving hugs and having a lot of fun. So I would say it was sort of like the ability to want to play my character made me want to get the fursuit, and it sort of took the con experience to the next level. Again, you don't need one. I had a lot of fun without one, but it did enhance it to another level for me, being able to bring Blizz to life and play him and have some fun with him.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have to agree a lot with that. Like, you don't need a fursuit whatsoever because um, I went. I didn't go to. I haven't been to a furry convention yet, but I went to GalaxyCon before, which is basically just like a Comic-Con type deal where there's actors, there's anime stuff, there's even wrestling. Weirdly enough, it's a whole little jumble of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, with that, I didn't go in the in suit, but I did kind of act like a furry. Like, in a sense, I was playing Gamaria, my character,
Mm-hmm.
because also with having a suit, how you say, kind of enhances the experience. I have to say, for me personally, it helps me deal with a lot of my social anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me. I can get to play and portray what I want to be, and not anxiety or stuff like that. It helps with that a lot
Right, and
because
you see that happen with a lot of furries suffer from social anxiety, but when they put the suits on, they're able to act out and be themselves without that fear of like being judged. And that's another thing that just makes the community wonderful is for the most part, and there's always bad apples, but for the most part, it's a very judgment-free community that is very accepting of people, and that certainly helps with the social anxiety as well. Because I at one time had it too, and just the welcomingness of the community has made it much easier for me too.
and how you said how it's a very accepting community. That's one reason that a lot it intertwines with the LGBTQ community
Uh-huh.
quite a lot because they're very accepting. It goes hand in hand. Same thing.
Right.
As you probably know, a lot of furries are LGBTQ, and it again helps with social anxiety and coming out and stuff. It's very supportive all around of stuff like that.
Right. No, not a doubt about that. It's definitely been very, very helpful to so many folks who needed that like outlet to reach out to when they were struggling with their own kind of issues and their own sexuality. Like, how do I do this? Well, you have so many people in the fandom that have experience with that were able to help them out. So that's kind of it. The community really helps each other, and that's just another great thing about it.
Yep. Kind of like that helped me a teeny bit. Like that's how I found pansexual. And that have now also helped me meet my boyfriend of now 2 years, stuff like that.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you. It's actually the 16th. It's our
Oh,
16th
okay.
or
So
18th that we're celebrating 2 years
happy
of
almost
dating.
anniversary. Yeah.
Like, sorry, I tilt my head again to read.
It's okay.
Looks like the strip showing just the eye part first. Blind spot. Out of all the conventions you've been to, what would you say is your favorite?
So I've been to quite a few, although everything got put on hold with COVID.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so I think that there's something to be said for like a big convention versus a small convention. Um, we have a local con here, furthermore, that I love. It's local. I like know most of the local people that are furs around here, so it's nice to go to a convention where it's small knit groups and it's all your kind of close friends. That said, my favorite convention is actually the very first one I ever went to, and that's Anthrocon up in Pittsburgh. It is a incredible experience. It's a very wholesome con, and it's the only convention, particularly from a furry standpoint, where the entire like city gets behind the furries and is like reaching out, and they come out for the parade and they bring the kids, and it's just an incredible time. And there's something to be said when you line up for the fursuit parade and you actually have to walk outside in July. The heat's the toughest part. But you walk down the stairs and you go out to the street, and there's just crowds of people all hanging up like Pittsburgh loves the furry signs. And you walk the streets and you get to play your character and take pictures with the folks, and you give the kids the hugs and stuff as you walk on by, and everybody's just into it and having a blast. And it's the only time that you can really walk downtown, even outside the convention space, in fursuit, and like people will stop you and want to take your pictures and say, hey, we love you guys so much, come back. Like it's just a very welcoming and like accepting experience at Anthrocon. And the con's huge, and it's over the 4th of July, so it's a big party, and it's just a really good time from a really good city. So for me, it's always going to be, and I can't wait to go back this year, always going to be Anthrocon in July in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And how you're saying, quick note with the heat and everything and going outside. I believe, from what I've heard, that's one of the very few conventions that they have so many people. They have to go outside for them because their convention spaces will not hold that many people.
Yeah, no, you can't do the parade inside. They used to do it inside, but now you can't do it inside anymore because there's just so many suitors. And another reason is there's so many in Pittsburgh who want to come see the suitors. It's an incredible, and for me, honestly, when I did it the first time, it was a little bit of a life-changing experience. Like, I don't know, it just really helped me feel accepted into the fandom way back when I did it for the first time.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a huge boost of self-confidence that there's just regular people, everyday people, there's kids even just lining up on the side of the street to cheer you on.
You feel like it's the first time I've ever felt like a mascot like for a team, and I was just like, okay, I love this.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds wonderful. And man, I don't know, like just in this room and during winter with the heat on, man, that's just the head is just so sweaty. I don't know how people do it, to be honest.
Well, thankfully, you're not, when you do the parade, you're not outside for very long. You're only out for maybe about 5 minutes. And as soon as you get out of the parade, you go right into like this super cool headless lounge where there are people waiting to hand you water so you can immediately pop your head off and drink some water and stuff like that and rehydrate. It is usually really, really hot, but in my opinion, it's worth it.
Yeah, that's one thing. I honestly, bit off subject, but with the water and everything, I want to try like want to get a full suit one day to design a full suit that actually has like there's Ozark Trail or something like camelbacks and stuff with the fursuit head and everything. I've heard some people actually do that and carry those around the cons because they help keep your back cool and it's movable water.
My
Uh,
my roommates there had ice packs that they would wear under their suit, and I usually have a fursuit fan that I stick in my mouth, and it helps keep me nice and cool whenever
oh,
you start to overheat a little bit.
oh, I didn't even know that you could find fans that small.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
What made you choose Blizz for your persona's name?
So when I was going through and looking through, like, all right, what do I want my character to represent? Well, I want him to represent kind of me. So the colors are actually pretty simple. The design was kind of, uh, I guess you could call it trial and error of like me taking a free furry base that I found online and drawing lots of colors on it and saying, ah, I like this, I don't like this. And the final design turned out to be a couple of stripes and stuff like that. And I just sort of said, yeah, you know what? I like that one. And so he was born. His name, Blizz, has to do with what I actually do for a living, which is study the atmosphere. And my area of expertise is snowfall and snowstorms. So Blizz actually stands for blizzard, but when I looked it up, there are a lot of other blizzards already in the fandom. I know a couple myself. There's a blizzard husky, there's a blizzard fox. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to be blizzard. I'm just going to shorten it and make it blizz. So that's how the name Blizz was born. That way, it still ties in to me. It still ties into the human underneath who studies and loves snow. And now I'm Blizz the wolf, the snow-loving wolf. And that way, when I play the character, I'm not just completely changing who I am. It's also a part of who I am, if that makes sense.
Kind of like my first and stuff is Gamari the Wusky. Um, it's a big, huge part of me because when I was younger, my best friend and I were, yes, trying to come up with like a YouTube name when I was younger, just to try and be like, say, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, like really big names on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we came up with the name with Gamer Guy. Then we changed it up because there's a lot of them to Gama, like Gama guy. And then to make it a bit unique because there was one of those, I had that 94 on the end. So that's still to this day, like my Xbox username and stuff like that. Well, that kind of spun into when I became a furry. I changed my son's name to Gamaria, and kind of goes Gama for short because both work. Gamaria, uh, because it's part of who I am. It's my gamer tag, everything. I grew up with it. I say Blizz is short for what you do for a living. It's part of you. That's how it was. And with the markings and everything, like your fursuit, I chose the blue because honestly, that's my favorite color. As you could probably see from lights behind me flashing in and out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome, and you'll find that with a lot of furries, is there's some sort of personal story behind either who their Sona name is or how they design their character. A lot of folks have it where it's tied to some part of themselves, and I just think that's another awesome thing about the community. Just like your Sona, I mean, it's awesome how it ties into something from your regular life.
I like it. And that kind of leads me to my next question. What was the inspiration behind your other Sona, Dark Blizz?
So Dark Blizz so it has a lot to do with personality. In real life, like I don't get to be this happy and this cheerful all the time, which sounds sad, but it's more like in what I do for a living and things I do for fun. Like I play a lot of sports and I have to be more intense and less bouncy and less hi. Like I can't be that goofy. So Dark Blizz sort of represents the other side of me that has to be more serious and that has to be more I don't know what the word is, like macho, like tough guy Sona. So the light version, which is this version, OG original Blizz is the silly, fun, bounce around, let's go to the rave type. Whereas the dark version is the, one you don't want to meet in the back alley, the guy that is sort of the tough guardian type. And he's actually a little bit of a husky wolf because I wanted a curl tail. So he's a little husky, but he's mostly wolf. So it's just the other side, sort of a representation of a little bit more of what I'm actually like as a human in my everyday life.
Okay, so kind of two sides to the same coin, if you will.
Like a Jekyll and Hyde, but still both sides. Neither one of me is gonna bite yet, but it's sort of two sides that, like you say, two sides of the same cord. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It's just a representation of fun and goofy versus a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I get that fully. Kamari, I have to say, it's kind of like an in-between. I wanted to curl tail myself. That's why I'm named Wusky. And also, that's my favorite type of dog.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
That's one reason that made me choose it, because I've always loved seeing like real-life photos of wolf husky hybrids and everything. That shows me, that made me choose this species for myself and everything like that. Well, Kamari is not too terribly happy one way or too sad one way or too strong this way. It's just an all-around balance of what I want it to be that specific day.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically almost a spitting image of what I want, basically what I want it to be out my IRL self.
Very cool. I like that.
Now on to the next question, if I can read again. Da, da, da. Light act. What's your thought on the word puppy furs and more popular furries and stuff like that?
So I don't really, not that I don't believe in it. There are certainly furries that are more popular, but I think and again, it's not the case for all of them, but for most of the ones I've met, and I have met a number of them through actually my girlfriend Galaxy, because she's been in the fandom a very long time, much longer than me. And she knows a lot of them personally as friends. And most of them, actually, they don't even like that term themselves. They're actually very down to earth, very cool people who don't want to be put on the pedestal. They just love making content. Same kind of thing that I think most furries like doing. They love playing their characters. They love putting content out there. And, some of them basically do it every single day. And it's those ones who work at it the most that tend to get the followings and stuff like that. But I will say that for the most part, they're all very chill. They're down to earth. I've never seen them say no to a picture or talk down to somebody. And most just want to be treated like everybody else, to be completely honest with you. So, yeah, I not that I don't play into that mentality, but a lot of them are more like you than most people think that they are, if that makes sense.
I get you. Some people would say you are quote unquote puppy fur, but you said with that term, you're very down to earth and stuff like that. Like you're taking the time out of your day to talk to me, and I have nowhere near as following. To me, that's very down to earth. That you're taking time for somebody who's not known yet and stuff like that.
But that doesn't. And again, look, I don't like. I have a decent Instagram following, but that doesn't matter at the end of the day. I really appreciate that people like the character, but what matters is the interactions that you have with people and being kind and wanting to make friends. I don't care about your following, whether you have 100,000 or 1. If I have the opportunity to just have some fun, get in suit, talk to you for a little bit, why not? It's fun. It's enjoyable. This is what I live for. And it's the connections that you make in the fandom that are the human to human or animal to animal connections that you're going to make in the fandom. that is what it's all about. It's not about the follower. If you just do it for the follower count, you're going to hate the furry fan. You need to get in it to have fun, to meet people, to make friends, because it's those relationships that are going to carry you through and make the fandom fun for years to come, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
It's, whereas it is some furries' jobs, like say Majira or Flukoski, some more names, they do YouTube for a living. But I have to say that while I heard they're very down to earth, they're not there just for the followers. They're there to make content for people, and they're in for the content and for the interaction more than the followers, is what I've heard.
Well, so what I will say about some of those, and I won't mention names, but what I'll say about some of those is most furs that you think do it for a living actually don't. They actually have more than one job, but they do put a lot of work and a lot of effort into making the content. And some of them, yeah, they definitely like to do it, and they, not that they do it for the following, but they do it to make their followers happy, if that makes sense. But yeah, I've never met anybody who's in like a follower race, if you can. And like, I'm not talking to, I've read horror stories on Twitter about people being like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you if you have less than this amount of followers. But I've never in any of my con experiences actually met someone who won't talk to somebody because of their following.
I get you. Yeah, I was just throwing a couple names because they're a bit more known in the fandom. Like almost every furry's heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I've never met any of them, so I can't really vouch for what they do or how they act.
Right. And it's one of those things where like, you'll if you go to any bigger convention, you'll probably run into them at some point. And you know, they're always like most of the big ones, and you can kind of guess who I'm talking about. I've always seen them pose for pictures with anybody who asks and stuff like that. They're like everybody else. They don't want to be bothered. Like if they don't know you and you're hanging around like you're one of their friends, that'll bother them a little bit. But I've never seen them tell anybody off or be mean to anybody, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it fully. Like they won't put down their foot unless they have to, type deal. Right. Like I honestly say, I went to the con, I wouldn't want somebody just following me around that I don't know and kind of being kind of stalkerish.
Right.
If you want come say hi, please do. Just know that some people want to go enjoy the con, and
just respect boundaries, and most people are great.
Yeah, definitely. Trying to read the next question. If I could, I need to get this suit repaired and fix the eyes.
Hey, it's the beauty of being a furry. Lack of vision, lack of airflow, superheated heads. It's all in the fun.
And of course, I have horrible handwriting as well. Lovely. Now, there's. What do you think about fur meets or fur bowls? Because I know you were saying that you like to go to them.
I absolutely friggin' love them. So I'm actually going to a fur bowl this coming weekend. I can't wait. I'll be at the Delaware Fur Bowl if anybody's watching. But I would say that I've met most of my friends through the local meets first, not so much the conventions, but if you find like your local fur group or your local meet, those are the best places to make friends, to build connections, because they're usually really small. You can talk to people, you can find people that you share similar interests with. And then from there, that's where the groups form, like, hey, we're going to a con this weekend or next weekend or in a month. Do you want to come with us? And that's when you find those groups of friends that you then kind of progress up the ladder, so to speak, of, hey, I went to a furry meet and I went to a furry bowl and then I went to a convention. Then we went to a big convention. Like, you know what I mean? That's the easiest way to stepstone yourself into the fandom. Don't do what I did. When I did it, I went right to a convention and I was awkward and I didn't know anybody. And my first convention was sort of fun, but the first couple of days were rough because I didn't know anybody. But then eventually I went to enough panels that I started making a couple of friends and it got better from there. But then after that con, I started doing that. I went to the meets, I went to the bowls, And that's where I made a ton of friends. And then from there, we all started going to conventions together. So I love them. Fur bowls are great fun. Fur meets are great fun. How about you? Have you ever been to any of your local meets?
Honestly, no, because I still getting into that and still trying to find some because where I live, there is nothing. I live out in the country, and let me tell you, there's not many people out here to begin with, much less furries.
That's fair. I mean, I'm lucky that I live in between a couple of big time cities, and there's always furry events going on. I'm up. If anybody cares, I'm up near DC and between DC and Baltimore, and there's always something going on with the local furries because there's a ton of us up here. So hey, again, I know sometimes you have to travel, but if you're able to steal away for a Saturday and go to a bowl, it's totally worth your time to travel. I know not everybody can, but it's totally worth your time if you're able to do it.
Yeah, kind of like how you mentioned a couple of the big cities like DC. It's the U.S. capital. There's gonna be a lot of people there, which there's a high chance there's a lot of furries and that more meats and stuff. It's just stuff like that. You gotta look at what's close to you and go from there.
Exactly. Yep. That's
Like
the way to do it.
say, I don't live there, but say I live in California and I live near LA. Okay, I can look up on Google or whatever. I can talk to people and say, okay, I'm looking for a Los Angeles furry and go for there.
Yep. And there's usually Telegram group chats you can find. But honestly, I just went to Google. I Googled like Maryland furries, and it took me to the Maryland furry webpage. And then I found group chats from there, and that's how I started.
You gotta love the power of Google. It can find anything, even if you don't want to find it.
Google knows all.
Yeah. And little nose, I just noticed you have a movable jaw on your
Well,
pursuit.
it's a little bit movable. It doesn't always move unless I really exaggerate my talking. So, a lot of times I face it a little down, and you can see right now it's not moving when I'm talking normally. But if I really exaggerate my chin, I can get it to open.
Yeah. I have no chin, as you can see. My muzzle is my mouth, like my lower jaw. It's in my muzzle. My fursuit is apparently missing top teeth.
Oh,
I
well,
only
it
have
still looks good. And the most important thing, doesn't matter what your fursuit looks like. The most important thing is that when you put it on, you have fun in it and that you enjoy playing your character. That's really all that matters.
and also like one reason I didn't go for a big maker straight away is one, I wanted to start small and because my budget was small at the time. Well, this I also wanted to support maker. This was the person's very first fursuit head that they ever made.
Well, they did a really good job on it.
I have to say so. They used a couple different patterns from a couple different people, but they hand sewed everything and used hot glue for a lot of things as well. I would say they did a fantastic job on it.
No, I agree. They did a really good job.
For and they're ever improving. Like they haven't made any more heads yet, but they've started making paws, tails, and stuff, which that can get you into sewing better and stuff like that.
There you go. There's a question for you. Are you paws or are you maws? Bark.
I honestly don't know. Like
That's fair.
maybe a little bit of both.
Oh, okay. Hey. To each their own. Right.
I would wear my paws, but I misplaced them. They're somewhere buried in my closet.
Oh, that's okay. Bark, 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 bark.
Yeah, I got the actually my paws cost more than my fursuit head.
Ah, paws can be expensive, especially if you get like these puffy pillow versions. Bark, 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 bark. Soft as all heck. Impossible to lift anything up, but they're certainly very pillowy and very fluffy.
Actually, if you don't mind, excuse me for a second, I'll grab them. They're right here.
Oh, go ahead. Yay. Hooray for all the paws. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. I'll entertain everybody while you're gone with lots of barks. Bark, bark, bark.
I found one of them. I can't even see him there. That's one.
That's the fun of putting them on with your head on, is you just can't see them.
Yeah, I tried to kind of like set my head on top of my other one, like up top of my real life head, and kind of like shimmy it down with my paws. That's what I got so far.
There you go.
It's even lined up. Yeah.
Well, that's a good pair of paws. I love your claws.
Thank you. They're a team of add-on, and I actually got these made by Basketball Studio on Instagram. Fantastic person. Expensive paws, but that's because it's handmade.
Well, yeah. Those handmade paws are really, really nice always. Let's see them. Hold them up.
This is like, yeah, there you go.
Oh, they look great.
Yeah, I always found one that comes almost down to my elbow.
Uh-huh.
I honestly wanted to save money. I did not want to buy arm sleeves.
That's okay. That's okay. Hey, start slow and steady when you jump into the fur, because that is one thing about the furry fandom. It is expensive.
Oh yeah. Believe it or not, it's not my most expensive hobby.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm very interested in aviation, and I'm actually trying for my pilot's license and studying for that.
Oh, that's here. You know what you can help me with? I hate the fly. I have a horrible, not like overwhelmingly, because I do it when I need to, but I don't like the fly. Airplanes make me very nervous. They induce my anxiety. So any tips for a scared flyer, you let me know.
Well, here's for anybody who ever watches this, and for you, planes, say, a lot of people are scared that it's just going to fall out the sky when the engine cuts off or something. It actually, when the engine cuts out, it's meant to glide, and the pilot can put it down whenever they need to, or they can keep on going until they find an open field or a runway. The planes are meant to turn into a glider when the engine is cut off, and if you're going for your pilot's license, they actually make you call off the engine and do that.
Oh, goodness gracious. I would be so scared. Yeah. No,
everybody says that till they do it like once or twice.
It's just one of those things where, like, whenever we hit turbulence, I get nervous and stuff like that.
Yeah. When I was younger, I went with my mother to Ecuador one time. Yeah, we flew through down the coast and through Florida. I sprinted through the Miami airport running, and that's, I believe, the second biggest airport in the country.
It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, there's 2 monorails in there.
Wow, goodness gracious.
We had to hit those and everything. Yeah, we had to hit those and everything, but man, flying through the down past Ecuador and everything near Brazil, there was a big storm and a lot of turbulence.
Oh, goodness. Oh, no.
Yeah, but I honestly quite enjoy flying myself. I honestly like the really small planes, like the Cessnas and stuff like that.
So you want to have like a single-seater airplane when you're a pilot. You don't want to be like a commercial pilot. You want to be like a single engine pilot.
Oh yeah, single, maybe double engine, like something smaller.
Oh, okay. That's actually really cool. Again, I'm kind of jealous. My fear of heights will always keep me from doing it. I'm hoping that the more I force myself to fly, the more comfortable I'll get with it. But thank you for your tips. I appreciate that.
So I don't keep you too much longer, I'll try and hurry up and read a couple more questions. Don't mind me clawing my own eye.
That's okay.
We kind of covered this before, but I kind of want to elaborate on it a teeny bit more. What is your favorite part of the fandom?
I think it's and we did kind of cover it before, but I think it's the personal connections that you make in the fandom, as opposed to like the suits and stuff. Yeah, the suits are cute and all of that, but at the end of the day, there's a human underneath all. Even if we don't want to be Like there's a human underneath all these suits. We're not our cute animal characters. And to me, it's the connections that you make with those humans under the suit that matter the most. So it's the friendships you'll build along the way. It's the people you'll meet. You know, the changes, the fandom will change things about you if you enter it, because you'll learn different things. You'll meet different people who have different perspectives, and they may change your perspective on a lot of things. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just this wonderful melting pot of people and ideas and thoughts. And again, it's the people and the fact that the people are open and accepting to, you know, obviously not to everybody, because there's people that we want to keep. Nobody wants anybody who's going to cause trouble to be around. That's for sure. But overwhelmingly, it is a kind and accepting place that is just, it's again, I can't sum it up any more than just like the people and the relationships that you'll build, and the way you feel when you're at a convention, is you finally feel like you can be open and yourself and how you actually want to be, whereas sometimes you have to lock that away in your everyday life, and that's what's made such a difference for me.
Yeah, I get that fully. And like we said, we cover it quite a lot earlier, talking about just random different things. So I'm going to jump to the next question. This is a bit off topic of furry stuff, but yeah, I know you're son as a wolf, but what is your favorite species of other things? Like, do you own any dogs, and what type are they?
So yeah, I own a dog myself. I'm canines all the way. Yay! My girlfriend Galaxy lives with me. She's not here right now, but she's a big cat fan. But we both have dogs. I have a golden retriever, and she has an Australian Shepherd. And I know you can't see them right now, but they're actually right at my feet, sleeping on the floor. So big fan of dogs. And I like some of the smaller animals too, like hamsters. Galaxy has a chinchilla that's really grown on me. He's a sweetheart.
Oh, wow.
But and you know, I would like cats more if I wasn't allergic to them. So on my Twitter and on my Instagram a lot, I'm like, hey, dogs versus cats, dogs rule, cats drool kind of thing. But I mostly do it because I'm allergic to cats. But if I ever came across a cat, I would like hug it and cuddle it and then sneeze later. But it's, I would say that, and then Galaxy's a big fan of hyenas, and she's been telling me so much about hyenas that I'm kind of fascinated by them too. So I'm getting into like the hyena side of things as well.
Okay. Like, I myself, my son is based off Wolf Husky or Wusky. I really love the dogs. They're very beautiful. I love the blue eyes. But in real life, I own two twin pit bull lab mix.
Aww.
Yeah, I call them tuxedo dogs because they look like a tuxedo cat ball dog. They have like the white chest, they have the black fur.
Aw, I'm sure they're so cute.
They are identical twins.
Pities can
And
be.
man, they can't stop. Like, they have to sit side by side or lay side by side. They can't stop being near each other. Otherwise,
Aw,
they'll
they're like,
actually have separation anxiety.
because they grew up together. They're like siblings. That's actually that's really cute. And pitties can be so misunderstood. Like you said, pit bull and lab. That means they're probably just always like cuddling around you and hopping up on your bed and stuff. I mean, they sound like really great dogs.
Oh yeah, and I mentioned earlier, I have also a cat that he's huge. Back. I'm going to disturb him.
Oh no! Oh my gosh, very cute though. He's like,
Oh yeah.
what is this animal that has captured me? Ah.
Yeah, there you go. You can go back to bed. Yeah, he honestly does not know what to think about my person. He honestly just wants to climb in the mouth and land it.
Well, it's this warm shelter like thing, so I'm sure.
Yeah, he's like, it's dark and it's shelter and it's warm. Yeah, I'll hurry up and try and find the next question. Again, Um, yeah, I could see your back wall. You have a lot of art of Blizz. Do you have a favorite piece?
So I have a couple of favorite pieces. My favorite piece is probably that one right there with me walking through the city. Um, that was done by an artist named Malmut. He's a very shy but a very talented artist. I have a friend Nightsy who did my favorite badge. I think it's hanging up there somewhere back there. He does a lot of comics too and a lot of TikToks. He's a pretty well-known guy, but a super good friend. And then this one over my shoulder right here is a art piece that Galaxy actually did me for one of our anniversaries. So I made it a poster because it's very near and dear to my heart because it was one of the first pieces that she did for us. It's just off screen up top there, but that's the very first art piece she ever got us when we got together. So a lot of the pieces behind me have some sort of meaning to me of significance. It's not necessarily that they're my favorite, but they all represent something I went through in my life where Blizz was a part of it. And so that's the posters behind me. They're not my favorite pieces necessarily, but they are something that reminds me of a period in my life where I went through something and where I experienced something special that made me happy. And that's why I want all the happy memories in my room like this.
Okay. Yeah. One of my favorite art pieces I commissioned it. I forgot the artist's name. I think it's Cacti Mutt.
Oh, I know
Or
Cacti.
yeah, I commissioned an art piece, two posters from her. Well, it was I got the art like downloaded on my phone and everything. Like I got a digital piece and a physical piece. Well, the package was stolen or destroyed or lost in the mail.
Oh no.
But the one thing about this, I still have the art.
Well, that's at least good. Hopefully, you're able to do like another one. Cause man,
Oh yeah,
that's
because
a
all I'd
bummer.
have to do is just print on a poster. But the art is a full buy of Gamaria, and NCR Ranger armor from Fallout New Vegas, one of my favorite games.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of Bethesda games like Skyrim, Fallout, everything.
Mhm.
I just love RPGs.
Some of my favorite games too. They do such a good job with those RPG games. They really do.
Yeah. Um, well, I'm about out of questions. Is there any questions you have for me?
So I guess you said you've never been to a con, so at least a furry convention, and I'm on your list of like conventions I want to make it to. What are some of the things that you want to make it to now that you're gonna starting to break out, or once you can break out more into the fandom?
Like you mentioned, I'd like to go furthermore because that's kind of close to me.
Yeah,
It's
you'd see
only
me
a stay
there.
away.
Woo!
Yeah, I'd love to go there. And another one is Anthem, New England. I heard it was a really good con.
See, that's one of the few I've actually never been to. Galaxy has though, and like she made me promise we'd go this year, so I'm going to A&E for the first time this year too. So I can't wait to have that experience. I've actually never been to Boston. I've been to a lot of cities in the USA, but Boston's one of the few I haven't been to. It's like the only city on the East Coast I've never been to. So I'm excited for that.
I'm actually gonna try and go this coming up convention as well to A&E.
Oh, so I might see you there.
Possibly.
Yay.
Just have to work out a couple kinks with financing and stuff. Fun stuff. Yay.
Hey.
But,
So if you were going to be any species / sona besides your current sona, what animal / color / sona would you be?
weirdly enough, I'd have to be. I'm like I said, I'm a fan of cool colors, so I'd have to be possibly purple and purple, blue, and maybe throw a bit of red in there. Fox,
Oh, fox. So a sly, sneaky fox then.
definitely. Because
Ah,
I've
and then,
always loved foxes in real life, like their big old bushy tails and stuff like that.
mhm. I mean, they are. there are a lot of foxes in the fandoms, but they're all a lot of fun, and all the designs are unique. So I think you can have no shortage of foxes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what's one thing, like we already kind of went over how you got into the fandom, but like what would you say the reason why you got into the fandom is, and what do you want out of it in the end, at the end of the day?
Well, the reason I got into it, that's the reason I said basically that's for me is um I have to think a bit about this one because it's been a bit. What I really like the role playing. I just love how wholesome it was. You don't some of the other fandom stuff, you blah blah blah, you see this and this, but the furry fandom stuck out to me because I remember as a kid, I think I saw a furry one time and I just fell in love with it. I don't really remember it well, but like I kind of recognize this. This feels safe. I love it. And I fell in love with it, and just like, I want to do that.
That's actually pretty awesome. Again, kind of similar story with how like my first interaction with the fursuiter was, where I didn't even know where it was, but I was like, they look like they're having fun. Like I that wholesome, that silliness, like I want to feel whatever it is they're feeling to be able to do what they're doing. And it sounds like you went through that as well.
Definitely.
Awesome, awesome. Well, so you mentioned your other hobby was aviation. Do you have any other hobbies outside the furry fandom that you really enjoy?
Actually, I really love gardening and cooking. Like,
oh, yay!
It's always been lovely. It's a way to de-stress for me and stuff like that. Is I love to grow my own herbs and cook with them.
That's actually awesome. I admire the gardening. So I can't grow anything to save my life, but I do love cooking, and specifically baking. I do love to bake. It's like my secret side obsession is I'm always baking something.
Okay. What's one thing that you love to bake more than any other?
And like I make jokes about it on my Instagram constantly, but I actually love to bake chocolate chip cookies. Like I have a recipe that was kind of passed down through the family from my grandma. It's a little different from like the cookies you buy in the store. It's all made from scratch, and my grandma taught me how to make them when I was a kid, and I just love like tweaking the recipe a little bit, trying different combinations to try and just make the absolute best chocolate chip cookie that anybody's ever had. So it's like my favorite thing to do.
Oh, well, yeah. One thing that I love cooking is I've made my own recipe because I love Louisiana Cajun spice for some reason. I do that, lime juice, and chicken. I'd make it stir fry, cut up some rosemary and stuff, throw it in there and stuff, kind of saute it in there.
Ooh, that does sound good. I love a good.
And for a little flair, I always use pink Himalayan salt to give it a bit different color.
Ah, that's actually very neat. Okay, I'm gonna have to try some of your cooking sometime.
Definitely.
Well, I think that's all I got from me. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Well, that is about it for me as well. My list is done empty. My mind is empty as well.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for doing this for me. And again, this is blizzwolf, and I'd say I have a fantastic time having you on here.
Well, again, I had a lot of fun, and I hope to see you at either Furthermore or A&E this year. Give me a big hug.
Definitely. I can't lean in too close because I'll knock over my camera.
Hug.
Well, anyways, I gotta go get some stuff done. I don't know how to end this.
I'll end it. It was great talking to you again, and I'll send this video right over to you.
Sounds good. Thank you. I'll definitely send you a link once it's up.
Awesome. All right. I'll see you later.
Good. Bye.
Bye-bye.